Hey guys, I just wanted to do a little quick rundown here. No, I'm serious. This one will be really quick, hopefully. I just wanted to make an announcement that I've been slowly designing a plugin, and I was wondering if you guys could sort of help me out in testing it. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the download of it. It's not a very big file. It's pretty easy, and it's a VST file. I'm going to show you just really quickly how the plugin works, and I'm going to kind of go over how I designed it and all that good stuff. So, and I'll try to keep it simple for all those out there who've never made a plugin or aren't familiar with audio processing. So to begin with, we're going to start with a sine wave in Silenth. It's a C. And the reason we're starting with that is because a Silenth actually, not Silenth, a sine wave doesn't have any additional harmonics as we've seen in our previous tutorials. It's just one fundamental sound wave. So my VST I've created is here. Keep in mind this is a super beta phase, I call it. It's pretty early on. Most of, I would say, the underlying processing is for the most part done with. I might do some adjustments to different values and how the controls work, but for the most part everything as far as the actual operation is just about complete. Now I'm just kind of testing for different bugs and to see if there's any glitches, any of that good stuff, or not so good stuff. And then eventually we're going to start designing a hopefully a slightly, I don't know, classier GUI, I guess. That's kind of the vision I have for it. But anyways, this is the basic plugin right here. And it's got 4 controls. It's very simple. That's probably one of the main advantages to it, is that it's very simple. First there's an input gain, output gain, and then there's 2 controls right here. There's a saturation knob and a warmth knob. I'll get into the differences between those two in a little bit, but first let us try our sine wave through here. So let's turn it off for a sec and take a look at what it looks like under an equalizer, or under an analyzer. So just as we would have expected, this single sine wave just looks like one harmonic frequency, not harmonic, but one frequency down here, one fundamental. Now let's move this over here. Now let's turn it back on, and keep in mind this is with nothing turned at all. This is at its most basic settings without anything turned. Let's see what it does. So you can see that it creates a few small, one large harmonic here, and then a few smaller ones are actually down here. So that's pretty nice. Let's see. That doesn't do anything. I thought that would show a little bit lower down. Anyways, so you can see a few different things here. You can see that there's one, an additional harmonic, and 2, you can see that there's actually the input going in here, and you can see the output wave going out here. Now let's see what we do when we push the saturation a little bit. So you can see some more harmonics down here starting to develop. And let's kind of push it a little bit harder actually. So that's what that looks like. Let's do a little bit of warmth here too. And you can see that doesn't quite nearly affect as much of the high end as the saturation does. It does a little bit more on the low end of things. So let me explain really quick what's going on here. I designed a soft saturator, and it's using a few different kinds of distortion, harmonic distortion. And you can see that with the saturation and the warmth. Those two knobs both generate different orders of harmonics, or I should not necessarily orders, but varying harmonics are excited more by one knob than the other, and it's very subtle. There's one particular piece of engineering that sets this plugin apart from, I would say, most distortion plugins or saturator plugins. Most distortion or saturation plugins only have one knob for the added harmonics, and that's because if you actually add harmonics to a signal and then try to add more harmonics afterwards, so say you have one saturator saturating, adding harmonics, and then right after it you'll add another saturator, what will actually ultimately happen is not only will you add harmonics from the first saturator, but when it goes into the second saturator and then out, it starts to generate in-harmonic or non-harmonic material. Basically, it's just regular noise. It's not musically relevant material, and the reason that's important is because it sounds nasty. First of all, it's known as intermodulation, and you really don't want it to be in your songs at all. So what I'm driving at here is the unique part about my plugin is instead of doing what's called serial processing, so processing having the input signal go through the saturation, added harmonics, and then through warmth, more added harmonics, also adding non-harmonic material, and then being output, what I actually have is they're split between the two distortions. So what really is going on here is there's parallel processing. So the signal will split and it'll go to one saturator, and then the other part of the signal will go to the warmth, and then after they are being processed, they'll actually be summed back into one signal and then output, and that will actually help prevent intermodulation or that nasty non-harmonic noise. One other kind of nice thing about my plugin that some other plugins don't have, it's oversampling. I did the oversampling myself. I actually recycled the code from somebody else's oversampling that happened to work really, really well. And it's a little bit more taxing on the CPU, but it actually oversamples with a higher quality. It's called polyphase. The particular type of filter I use is called polyphase. And so basically I'm upsampling 2 times through each filter. So that means if the sample rate, say we're using right now, is 44.1 kilohertz, the sample rate going through the distortion part of this is 88.2, which is significant because it raises what's known as the Nyquist frequency, and thus prevents aliasing. So anyways, that's one good thing about that. So again, I would appreciate it, just go ahead and download it and try it out in your DAW, see how well it works, and if there's any issues at all, please do send me a message or leave a comment or something, and I'll try to fix it. And stay tuned, because I'm going to keep updating this plugin and hopefully develop it a little bit over time. And as always, go ahead and check out my music on all my SoundCloud, my YouTube, and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching. See you later.